everyone. I'm earlier than usual. We are meeting at 6 p.m. tonight at Grief and Goodbyes with me, Chelsea Ohlemiller, and I am super excited for my guest tonight. It is a very special guest, like nothing I've ever had before on my platform, and I think you guys are just going to absolutely love this conversation. I have a grief counselor and spiritual medium, Shauna Domalain, and I am just super excited for everything she's going to share with you tonight. So welcome, Shauna.
Thank you. Thank you, Chelsea. Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Yes. So the cool thing is about my platform is I get emails and contacts from people that I may have never, have been introduced to before. And so the cool thing about Shauna is that she is all the way in Canada. And that is just so exciting that my words and voice have been, transformed all the way up to Canada. And Shauna and I talked a couple of times before today, and we have a connection because my grandfather was actually born in Canada and was French Canadian and had an accent, spoke French. And it was just a huge part of my family culture that I felt honored to share with Shauna. And so I'm so glad that she's here tonight. Yay, Canada! We've got fans. So I'm just super excited to have this conversation. And tonight, I'm going to let her share her story, but I would encourage you to have an open mind about what a spiritual medium might look like. If you guys have questions, please put them in here. I can see the comment section is coming through. So if you have questions for Shauna, if there's things you want to know about what mediums can do, what the difference is between a medium and a psychic, which is what we will talk about also, anything in her realm of spiritual mediumship or grief counselor, put those comments in there and we will get to them. And also just welcome. So Shauna, tell us a little bit about what led you to not only your, being a spiritual medium, but also, what led you into this grief space and how you got here.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you again for having me. I'm so excited. I just have to say the energy is absolutely fantastic. I love it. Spirit is in the house. Love it. Love it. Oh my goodness. Well, I'll give you the short version. As a little girl, I saw spirit everywhere, and I referred to them as the see-through people. And I thought everybody saw what I saw. And over time, that really wasn't the case. And I, really just wanted to have people to play with. I wanted to have kids to play with. I wanted to, have friends to have lunch with. And so I kind of started to shut it down a little bit, and I wasn't as aware of it. I saw crossover loved ones and angels and all sorts of different energies all around. And I knew things. And so I was known as this, know-it-all. And how come you know all these things? And so that's the very beginning part. I just really had all of these gifts and all of this different information, and it was kind of flying around. And we didn't have TV shows. We didn't have books. We didn't have people normalizing mediumship and spiritual gifts. So sort of shut it down. And then over the years, it was kind of always there. It was in the background. And it was, I want to say, about 12 years ago, I went through an accident, and through healing from that accident, it was like they just turned it on full blast. It was crazy. It was just, oh my gosh, I saw spirit everywhere. It was absolutely insane. And trying to navigate that and understand what was going on. And it was just crazy, crazy, crazy. And then about 8 years ago, we lost my son, Jack. And so I had started to read for clients professionally, and I started to teach classes and all of those beautiful things. And no one has come up with a grief book for when you lose a child. There isn't, as you know, we've talked about this. There wasn't a set, this is what's going to happen, and this is how long it's going to take, and this is what you're going to feel like. No, I was all over the map, all over the place. And it took a couple of years before I was able to experience my son on the other side. Even as a medium, people were like, well, you're a medium, you can just talk to him. And it was so different for me. And I wasn't able to make that connection for a myriad of different reasons. And then when I finally made the connection, it was like a piece of my heart came back. I was able to breathe again. I started to really live my life. And it was from that moment that parents that had lost children started to come into my practice. And so now today, that's the main focus of my practice is parents that have lost children and helping them to navigate the grief and helping them to work through all of that. And that's what brings me here today. Yeah.
Yes, I love that. And Shauna and I have talked about just how, she's taken her grief and some of the hardships that have come, and she's using it to help, multiple families from Canada to the United States. And so I just loved her story and her passion for helping people. It's like this secret that she has, and she just wants to share it with everybody. And like her and I said, this is something, even I was like, I don't know how I feel. Like, I just don't know. Because I told her my dad has always believed, and my dad has always said like he gets signs or he will have, something happen. And so I was super excited to, have this conversation. And I knew my dad probably will be watching and saying like, I've told her this all along her entire life. So, we will also put all of Shauna's social media, her website, how to get her services, anything that you guys would want from her will be in the comment section when this is over. And so just make sure that you check it out there. And I wanted to talk, we have some comments already coming in, but Deanna, we definitely will be hitting on grief of a child. Obviously, that's one of Shauna's specialties. And so we will definitely talk about that both in her mediumship and also just how you can work through that loss and some of her personal experience with that. So we will definitely hit on that. Hi, Christy. My friend Christy's watching and she's saying nice things. So yay. Bianca, hello. Arabella, I hope I said your name correctly, but that's beautiful. Your name is just beautiful. Mm-hmm. And so we've got, if you don't mind, can we just jump into a question? And then, of course, yeah. So Arabella asked, how do you feel about people who are very skeptical about mediums? And I asked her this already too. So I really enjoy that question. I've always wanted to go to one, but my mom was very skeptical. So I'm always afraid that she'd get upset with me for going. Mm-hmm. So perfect. So Shauna, I'll give that question to you. That's kind of a two-part question of, how do you deal with people that are skeptical? And then do you also have to share, obviously, I guess that could also be like, client confidential, information. So you wouldn't necessarily have to share that you went. So what do you think about that?
What do I think about that? That is, I'm asked that question so many different times. It's just, I love it. I love it. I love it. So I always tell people we need to follow our truth. We need to really connect into what is true for us. And that's different for everyone. And I think the most important thing is that if you were guided to see a medium, that's also your loved ones on the other side. Your loved ones on the other side are also kind of giving you the nudge to go and talk to someone because they have a message for you. They want to connect with you. They want to let you know that they are safe on the other side, that they are at peace. Maybe there's a message for you. Maybe there's healing. Maybe there were things that were left unsaid that they can help you with. And so if you are feeling guided to go see a medium, that's spirit guiding you. That's part of your journey. And that's different for everyone. And I'm not here to try to convince everyone that mediums are amazing. I think they are, but that has to be that, again, that is in your heart. That is your truth that you need to connect into and really follow what feels light. If something feels light, like for me, it's like champagne bubbles. If it's a yes for me, it's like champagne bubbles and it's exciting and I'm just going to go in that direction. And if something feels heavy, kind of feels off, I kind of steer clear of it. So that's kind of what I tell people. As for skeptics, you take it or leave it. I present the information, and if it resonates with you, fabulous. I would love to have a conversation. And if it doesn't, that's okay too. Again, it comes back to what is it that resonates with you? What is it that is true for you? What is it that is true in your heart? And really to follow that. I mean, I grew up, we went to Catholic school, and I mean, talking to dead people was not okay. We were not allowed to talk about that. That was not real. It was the work of the devil. I've heard it all. And so what I know is true for me is that mediumship is a real gift and capacity. and that there is more to life than what we have here, and that our souls continue to live on the other side. They're just not in their physical body anymore, and that love never dies. And the beautiful part of the work that I do is relaying that information and helping people to grieve and continue to live a life that they love, knowing that their loved ones are literally just a thought away, that they're always around, they're always with us. I hope that kind of answered it. Oh, the other piece to that.
Well, and I think that I'm not trying to interrupt you, but I think that this is what made me know I had to have this conversation tonight, is that when Shauna reached out to me, I'm always open. I want to hear about everything. And so I just said to her, I said, okay, here's my first question to you. I don't know if you remember this, but I said, how do you like encounter a person? Do you always have somebody show up, or is there always something that you can tell somebody? And she said, no. She said, sometimes I don't feel an energy or a spirit or have a message. And I tell those people. And right then I was like, yes, this is something that I can get around, because, it's just like, this is a really bad comparison, but not every, like parents, I don't know how to explain it, but it's just like everybody needs their own thing, and every person is so unique. And, just like a counselor is different for you, not every counselor is going to have what you need. And so not every medium, I would imagine, is going to have what you need. And so the fact that he was vulnerable enough to say, hey, listen, sometimes people come to me and I have to say, I can work with you through your grief, but I'm not feeling anybody. And so I felt like that's what really struck me about your authenticity and your passion for the job, is that you didn't want to deliver a mediocre answer. You were like, I'm either feeling it or I'm not. So I want everybody to know that, because I don't know if you would have, if anybody would have asked that, but that was one of my very first questions. And so I think that's important to know about her.
Oh my gosh. And thank you. And you know what, when I first started, it's funny, I became a Reiki master, and I remember my Reiki master, she said to me, oh, you're going to be reading for people. You'll be connecting with lost loved ones. And I said, oh, no, we won't be doing that. No, not for me. And I started doing, offering Reiki sessions, and in the Reiki sessions, the loved ones started to come in. So I thought, nicely played, universe. And I thought, in that moment, I thought, okay, if we are doing this, we're going to do it right. I'm going to master this. I am going to be in service. And the work that I do, and with mediumship, is really about being in service. And it has nothing to do with me. I am the vessel that the information is flowing through, and I'm just relaying the messages that I'm getting. And so, if somebody does come to me, I know within the first minute if I'm not their reader. It doesn't happen very often, but if they come through and if I'm not picking up anyone, if there isn't anyone here, I'm not everyone's reader. And this is something that people, they ask me about all the time. They're like, well, can't you read anybody? No, I can't. I'm the first person to say that. And, and so again, coming from a place of being in service and wanting, of course, I want people to have the most incredible experience. Of course, I want them to go, oh my God, I want them to, have that faith and that renewed hope that life does continue in the afterlife. And that when we leave our physical body, that love is still there, that connection is still there. Yes, of course, I want everyone to experience that, but that isn't always up to me. And so again, I love to give the information and then let people make that choice based on what they feel is true for them and what that looks like. And, back to just for a brief moment about the skeptics, I find that the people that they don't come at me really hard, but they're like, yeah, right, prove it to me and tell me something that no one else would know. And it's like, it's kind of that energy. And I get it. Right. And, oftentimes I would say 99% of the time, those people will come back to me at a later date because they haven't healed from a loss that they've experienced, that they, are stuck somewhere on that grief spectrum and they don't know what to do with it. And so they will, 9 times out of 10 will reach out later on and say, I've had this experience. Can you help me work through it? And so I find it really interesting from that perspective. And I always tell people that the stories that I share from clients, I have their approval. I always ask them, are you okay if I share this? Would you like me to change your name? No, share it. And so any stories that I share I have permission to do that, because yes, the work is sacred. And I would never, to be honest, 85% of the sessions I forget. I don't even remember because I'm just a channel. I'm a channel and the information is coming through. So at the end of the session, people will tell me what came through and what we talked about. And it's like, whoa, even I'm amazed. It's like, holy, I get to be a part of this, which is so amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. That's kind of how I feel about writing, because sometimes I'll write a piece and then I'll read it back and I'll be like, I wrote that. Like, that's something I said. But sometimes I do. I feel like I'm a vessel of, maybe my mother's legacy or just somebody else that's trying to get these words out and they don't necessarily have it. And so I kind of feel like that about writing. So I love that you say it like that.
Absolutely.
We're getting several questions. So I saw that Carrie said, do you work on the other side of the table for a child who has lost both parents? And I believe that you work with everybody, any kind of grieving individual. Honestly, you don't even have to be somebody that's grieving, it could be anything. So I think her work extends across all, all grieving hearts.
It does. It really does. Yes. And that's a beautiful question. Because of my loss, because of losing my son, Jack, that has become, that is just so near and dear to my heart. And yes, I've lost, my grandparents and spouses and friends, and just, I've lost so many loved ones as well. So I've read for everyone. I've even read for animals. I've channeled for and horses, and we've tapped into it. Basically anything that is energy, we can connect into. So yes, I have connected with, children and parents and friends and aunts and uncles and you name it. It's been an absolute blessing, and I'm honored and astounded by the sessions and the work that I get to do.
Yeah. So I'm looking off to the side. I'm listening to you. I'm reading these questions. But Bianca asked, and I think this is an interesting question. She said, how does one begin to communicate or to build communication with a past loved one? So I don't know if you can hit on that.
Yep, absolutely. What I always like to tell people is that you do not need to be a medium to connect with and experience your loved ones on the other side. Yes, I teach classes and I have programs. And so if you'd like to learn step by step how to do it, absolutely. There's a ton of information out there. The most important thing I can tell people is to just be open and available. And I ask people, how open and available are you to the possibility that your loved ones are here in the room with you? Everyone that will watch this, everyone who's on this live right now, there's a loved one with you in that moment, in that space, and that freaks some people out, and that's okay. Just breathe. And for everyone who will watch this, that energy will be there as well. And so just knowing that your loved ones are there with you, being open and available to them, there's a really, really easy way to connect in and experience them. And that is by connecting into your heart. Our loved ones will connect with us and experience that sort of energy through our heart space. And so when we're up in our mind and we're doing this and we're doing that, and we've got our lists and we're all over the place, we're not connecting into our heart. We're not here focused in this energy. So if you bring your focus down into your heart space and ask your loved one to come closer, ask them for a sign, ask them to come into your space with you, you will start to experience different things that the logical mind can't explain. And so we all have spiritual gifts. And so spirit utilizes those gifts in a myriad of different ways based on how your gifts work. And so just to give you a little course, a little crash course on how it works, you could be clairaudient, and we hear spirit. You can be clairsentient. We feel spirit. Claircognizance is we know spirit. We just know the answer before the question is even asked. Or we can be clairvoyant, and that is clear seeing. We see spirit. And so just having the awareness, and this is what I teach through my classes, is, we teach you which of your gifts is the strongest, which one are your loved ones utilizing the most, so you can really hone in on what those messages look like and what that feels like for you. Sometimes our loved ones come through dreams. So if you ask your loved one tonight before you go to sleep, could you come visit me in my dream? I would love to see you. When we are doing mundane things, and this is why meditation always comes up when you're developing mediumship, when I'm doing dishes, or I'm in the garden, or I'm driving, or I'm doing some sort of mundane job where my logical mind is off busy, that's when I'll get downloads, or that's when I'll get, little snippets from loved ones from the other side. They're literally a thought away. They're in the room with you. And so that's sort of the broad understanding of it. And again, if, if you'd like to learn more, you can definitely, reach out. There are so many different programs and different options. And again, when I was growing up and learning how to navigate my gifts, there weren't TV shows, there weren't programs, there wasn't really anything out there for people. So I'm just thrilled to be able to help people start to communicate and start to connect with. And, the other thing too is when we have the awareness of how spirit is communicating with us and what the signs and symbols are, then it becomes really exciting. For me, for my son Jack, it's heart rocks. So I always find heart rocks everywhere, and that's just a little piece of his love from heaven coming into my heart, and I just love that. And so at the end of every client session, I always tell clients what the signs are to look for. So then they leave the session looking for those signs and really inviting their loved one into their world. Yeah,
that's beautiful. And then exactly what your sign is, or also which one of your loved ones you're getting signs from, because
yes.
I imagine maybe sometimes, it may not be the one that you think. I don't know. I just, and Fiona asked, how long have you been doing this? I know you kind of touched on it in the beginning, but how many years total have you been doing mediumship?
I started professionally reading about 13 years ago. Okay. And so I've read for thousands of people, and I have a client base that spans the globe. Yes. And so, I've been a lifelong medium, if you'd like to say it that way. I've experienced spirit since childhood. But it's been in the last 15, 20 years that I really thought, okay, if we're doing this, we're going to do it right. And I found teachers and mentors, and I practiced. And, when I first started my practice, I wouldn't take money from people. I was like, nope. I need to know, I need to be able to trust that what I'm delivering to you is something that you can receive in your heart. And so it's been an incredible journey. And, and again, if you're drawn to learn mediumship, search out the person that you resonate the most with. If you're drawn to have a reading, again, it needs to be someone that you resonate with. It needs to be someone that you feel like you can be having a conversation with, just like you and I. It's
someone you trust.
Yes. And someone that you trust, someone who walks their talk, someone who, can you read a book about mediumship? Sure. But it's like anything, you need to just really delve into it and master it and really come from a place of truly wanting to help and assist and really, I work for spirit, and
I love that. That's what I loved most about you. You can just, I'm sure everybody that's watching can feel it, but just your spirit is so, every time I have talked to you, I'm just happy. Like, I just like, even when we talk about hard things, I just feel so like light. Like, I don't even know if that's a thing, but every time I talk to you, I just feel so full of hope and, good energy. And so that's not always the case. Sometimes when you're talking with people, it still gets a little heavy, but every time, even hearing about your son, Jack, and, your immense heartbreak, I've always just felt your hope and your light. And so I've also just loved your vulnerability about, you do this because you feel, it's a calling and you're serving people, not because it's a job or you're trying to profit off of people's pain, but that you're actually trying to take your pain and help others. And so I really, really have admired that about you.
Thank you so much. And, it's amazing because as a medium, it's, again, after each and every session, I'm just blown away. It's like, wow, you guys, that was amazing. I'm literally the vessel that it's coming through. And then being able to help people, be able to say to someone, for example, someone who's lost a child, be able to say to them, I understand what that feels like. I understand how debilitating that is. I understand. I was literally knocked to my knees for years. It impacted everything. It impacted my marriage. It impacted how I parented my child. It impacted how I saw myself. I wasn't the same. I'm not the same person I was before I lost Jack.
Right.
And I am now, it's like Shauna 2.0. I'm like this enhanced version. And
I love that. I love that perspective. Yeah.
That is if we're willing and available to work through it. And so many people that I've worked with over the years, they can become stuck. I read for one family. I read for 5 family members in one family. They had lost their mom, and each person was at a different place on the grief spectrum. And none of it's right, none of it's wrong. We all grieve in our own different way. And it's so amazing to be able to share mediumship with people, because it's just who I am, it's what I am, and to also be able to facilitate the grieving process. Because a lot of people don't understand. For example, I had a client earlier today. She had lost someone, and she said, sometimes it just feels like this tsunami of energy. It just hits me, and I don't know what to do with it. And I said, well, what happens is the loss that you're experiencing now will ping pong back to other losses that you've experienced. And so sometimes it can feel like this huge wave, and it's overwhelming. And there's just so much that we working through the grieving process. And so I also love to help people navigate that. And through my loss, I was able to heal, and I have a greater capacity for love and a greater capacity to help and be in service. And I get to talk to my little sweetheart each and every day. And so my sweet Jack comes in all the time. He's here now. He's crazy. He's running around, and we're getting ready to move. And I said, I'm going to need like a huge box just for my rock hearts. It's crazy.
Oh, no, it's great. Not it's great. Andrea asked a really good question. She said, do you need to be with the person, or do you do phone or virtual readings? And the good news is I already know this because I asked her, and she definitely, she's in Canada. So you can reach her by phone or virtual readings. I think she does similar to Zoom. And so that's how her and I have met before. I haven't had a reading. We just have conversations. But yes, so you will definitely be able to get her services if you're interested, no matter where you are.
Yes, absolutely. I love doing Zoom. I love seeing everybody. I mean, even before COVID, I did, Zoom sessions and phone sessions for clients around the world. But I like Zoom because I can see the person. And the beautiful thing about doing the virtual sessions is that you can record them. So then when you listen to them again, you'll still feel your loved one's energy. You'll still receive healing energy and the messages, and you can just sit in the energy and just enjoy it. And
yeah. And that way you can always remember it too, because sometimes you forget things that people have said to you. And so you can look back at it.
Absolutely.
Kate said she's had many experiences with her mom. So that's beautiful. Nice. And a lot of people, a lot of people are asking, will this be available later? Yes, it will be available later. When we're done talking, it will be saved right here to Facebook. And then in the next day or two, it'll be up on my YouTube channel. So you'll be able to get it in multiple different ways. You can view it whenever you want. And yes, Kate, I agree. Her energy is just amazing. I felt the same every time I talked to her. Arabella. I love Arabella. I hope I'm saying her name.
Saying it right? Yeah.
Is it Arabella? I don't know, but that is beautiful. I love your name. I know I already said that, but every time I see your beautiful name across the screen, it's just wonderful. And she said both of our energies are amazing, and you're just the sweetest. So
thank you.
Yeah. So if we no double A. Oh, I am saying it wrong. Dang it. This is the thing. We talked about this. Shauna and I both have hard names because her name is not said how it's spelled, like as if you're an Indiana person, because it's French. So and my name, everybody says Chelsea, but it's actually Chelsea. So I feel you, and I'm so sorry. I hate doing that to people. So yes. So anyways, but if you guys have more comments, put them in there. Or questions, we'll try to get to them. So I have to ask, which we didn't even plan for this, but I just have to ask if there at any point tonight, if you feel like you need to tell somebody something, or you feel an energy or anything, you're free to say those things. So I didn't say that earlier, but if you should feel like something needs to be said, please know that the stage is yours, and you're welcome to do that.
There is something really quick that's coming in. There's someone who's recently had a miscarriage, and she may or may not want to share who she is, and that's okay. But there is someone who has recently lost a child, and we just want her to know that we need to just let her know that there isn't anything that she could have done differently. And that she just needs to continue on to focus on healing. I do see another soul that is waiting to come through. So she will have another baby at some point when she's ready, when she's fully healed and worked through everything. There is another soul that will come through. But there is a guilt that she's hanging on to. And whoever this is, if you would like to reach out to me, that this isn't a plug to have a session with me, but every now and again, there's a message from Spirit
I'm getting tears in my eyes.
And she just needs to know that there wasn't anything that there isn't anything that could have been done differently. That sometimes these, as part of our soul's journey, there is just, there is something that prevented that life from being viable, and that she will have a child in this lifetime. I'm getting that she's tried unsuccessfully a few times, and that there is a soul, there is a baby. I see that soul that will come through. So whoever that's for, I'm sending you so much love, all of my love. And again, feel free to reach out.
Yeah, and hope. You're giving hope for whoever's watching this. And I told you also, my dad's here. Hey, Dad. So, and you know what he says? He says, get a reading, XOXO. So I told you, Dad, I probably will. So just
He's
either that or tell Mom that she needs to come through tonight with some message for me. So anyways, hi, Dad. Sorry. I don't think he hardly ever watches. So he is like ADD guy. Like he can only stay focused for a while. So the fact that it's minute 30 and my dad's here, that's something to say. So,
and just in this moment, I invite everyone to everyone who's live with us right now, just to connect into your heart space and just think of that loved one. Just pick that loved one and just feel that energy, because they're all around you. Each and every one of you who's on this live right now, there's a loved one for each and every one of you, and multiple for some of you, and some of them are really chatty, we'll just say that. And for anyone who listens to this later on and watches it later on, again, just connecting into your heart space, you're welcoming that love, and it's unconditional love coming from the other side. And so whenever we come together and create these sacred spaces, that's what people are feeling. And so it's like, in this moment, just soak it up and enjoy it, and just know that your loved ones they become our greatest fans on the other side. They're rooting for our success, and they want us to live a phenomenal life, whatever that looks like for each and every one of us. And so just staying in the energy and just enjoying the energy is just so beautiful. So lots of moms, I see grandmas, I see grandparents. There are several loved ones who are just waiting to transition. So for all of those watching and who will be watching, those loved ones, they will make the transition and they will be at peace on the other side. And that love never dies. That love never dies. You can always, always make that connection.
Mm-hmm. I love that. Yeah. And I'm getting tearful. I always say that too, is just that the biggest thing, that I tell other people that have lost a mother like me is that, moms love us so beautifully. Like that love does not stop. And I truly feel like my mom continues to show up for me beautifully, like only a mom could. And so I just love the hope in all of your messages. And Heather asked, how do you know that they are appearing to you in your dreams and it's not just you thinking about them a lot?
Yeah, that's a beautiful question. Dream visitations are really common because we are so open to that energy and open to those messages, because our logical mind is not active. So we are literally in that dream state, and that's easier for them to make that connection with us. So the easiest way for them to connect with us through our dreams, when we're doing mundane stuff, when we're doing dishes, when we're, out in the yard, when we're driving, when we're meditating, when we've got that logical part of our mind, sort of quietened down a bit. Those are some of the easiest ways for our loved ones to connect with us. And when our vibration is higher. So when we have, when we're experiencing grief, that's a lower vibration on that frequency spectrum, if you will. And if we raise our vibration through movement, through song, through dance, through laughter, through joy, that makes it easier for spirit to connect with us. So just a little quick snippet. If you imagine walking into a room and flicking the light switch on, notice how quickly that current flicks the light on and illuminates the light in the room. That's how fast spirit energy moves. So if our energy is really sluggish and it's dense here in a physical body, but if we're grieving, if we're sad, if we're feeling depressed, if we're not feeling hopeful, our energy is lower, it's dense, it's heavy. So it makes it more difficult for them to connect with us and communicate with us while we are awake. So again, at night when we're asleep, all of those heavy emotions are sort of moved over, and it makes it more makes it easier for them to make that connection with us. And not everyone remembers the dreams. And so I always say to people, ask your loved ones to come into your dream with you tonight. Ask them to give you a sign. Ask them to keep giving you a sign until you know that that's them. Because sometimes people are like, bah, I didn't get a sign. Well, did you see a butterfly today? Yeah, I saw 3 or 4. Well, that was them.
Right. The first one, maybe not. Second one, okay. Third, yes.
I know, right? And our logical mind is like, nah, that's not them. I don't know what that is. I don't know. Just whatever. It's not a big deal. And I had a client, she had said one of her signs, they were feathers. And so in one day she saw someone who had feather earrings. There was a feather that came floating down out of the sky, out of nowhere. It was crazy. She went to dinner and there was a feather on her chair. It was just crazy. Like they just show up everywhere. My grandfather leaves dimes. I find dimes in the weirdest places. I have a jar full of dimes from him. We'll be out for a walk. There's a dime. Hi, Grandpa. I find them in the house. I find them all over the place. It's fun. And once you know what that sign is from your loved ones, and I'm getting a lot of you already know, but you're kind of like, I don't know. Is it really? Ask them to keep giving you signs. Whenever I get, a heart rock from my Jack, I'll say, oh, I love it, Jackie. I got it. Love you. More, please. And it just keeps it going. It's kind of like a game. It just keeps it fun. And again, every time I receive a sign or a symbol from my loved ones, it's like that little sprinkling of love from the other side. It's like, okay, you're still there. You're good. I'm good. We're good. We got this. And it just gives hope and meaning as we're, it's a completely different reality when we lose a loved one. Regardless of if that's a child or a friend or a spouse or a grandparent, it's a completely different experience that we work through and we navigate, and life isn't the same anymore. I remember my Uncle Russell, he was the life of the party. He held his own birthday party every year. Like that's like how big his energy was. He was fantastic. And when he crossed over, it was like, I think we were all depressed. It was like, oh my gosh, he's not here anymore. But then he started coming through energetically through mediumship, and he's still the same on the other side. He still has that crazy personality, and he's still fun and boisterous and larger than life. He just doesn't have his physical body anymore. So I always love to tell people they still have their personality. They're not in any pain. I always ask loved ones to come through at their happiest and their healthiest. So I don't see them in hospital beds. I don't see them after an accident. I don't see any of that. I see them as vibrant. And there was a girl I read for years ago. I said, there's a woman here named Rita, and she's got this beautiful green dress on and these gorgeous, vibrant red pin curls, and she's dancing. And she said, I have no idea who that is. And I said, she says that you'll know who she is. You need to go home and ask your family. That was her grandmother. So she presented.
My mom is Rita, so I love that you just picked that story.
So they will present at their happiest. I don't see them with, I may get a little snapshot of them right before they crossed, if they were in a hospital bed or if they were in hospice or, whatever that looks like. But then I see them at their happiest and their most joyful. And that's how they want us to remember them. They don't want us to remember them in pain. They don't want us to remember them if they had addictions. They don't want us to remember them like that. They want us to remember them at their happiest. And they want us, every time we remember a happy memory of our loved ones, they're with us in that moment. So for everyone who's watching right now, just for the rest of today, the rest of tonight, wherever you are in the world, just think happy thoughts. Remember your loved ones. Remember the parties, the birthdays, the crazy, the love, the hugs, all of it, because they're with you each and every time you do that.
Yeah. Or I have to ask you back to the sign thing. Yes. I know a lot of people have the same signs, like cardinals or butterflies or, pennies. Yeah. And so are most of the signs those kind of things? Or do you often find that actually it's, a heart rock, or it's a, 4-leaf clover? I don't know. I can't think of anything, but like what, I guess 2-part question is, are are most of the signs unique, or maybe even what has been the most unique sign that a loved one has come through and said, hey, I want them to find this, like blue Post-it notes, or I don't know. That's what's on my desk in front of me. So, so something like that. So maybe what's been the most unique sign that somebody has come through and told you to look for? And then how do we know we're picking the right sign, and that it's not just like everybody tells you to look for cardinals, so you're going to see cardinals,
Right. I love that. So the easiest way I always tell people, ask your loved ones to give you a sign, and ask them to continue to give you the sign until you consciously get it. And so, yeah, so I tell people, I'm like, no, just, if it's feathers, show me, just keep showing me, keep showing me, keep showing me. Typically I find spirit will show things in threes. So I will see 3 heart rocks. I'll see 3 feathers. I'll see 3 dragonflies, whatever that is. And just continue and, be open and available to whatever sign they want to give you. Not, I want to see this.
Okay.
I've had clients come to me before, no, I want feathers. And their loved ones are giving them coins, or their loved ones are visiting in their dreams, or their loved ones are, giving cardinals or birds or, blue jays or whatever that looks like. Just being open and available to whatever that looks like. The best story, this was crazy. When I met my father-in-law, we were getting ready to leave, and this huge dragonfly, like the wingspan was about 5 inches, landed on his hand just before we were getting ready to leave. And we all just froze and looked at it, and it stayed there for about 10 minutes. It was crazy. And then it flew off and it was gone. And I was out for a hike, and I just got back to the car, and I got the call that Terry had crossed over. And I was about a half hour outside the city. I said, okay, I'm on my way back into the city. Get in the car. I hang up the phone, and I just hear, get out of the car. So I get out of the car and I shut the door, and there were hundreds of dragonflies surrounding the car.
Oh my gosh.
And in that moment, even as a medium, of course, I'm bawling, the ugly cry, the whole thing. And in that moment, I was like, oh, Terry, I could just feel his energy. And it was so beautiful. And so in that moment, I knew that he'd transitioned. He made the transition, that he was happy. He was fine. He was whatever that looks like for you, heaven, the other side, the universal energies, whatever that looks like. And to this day, I still see dragonflies. He'll do kind of like a drive-by, like they'll come and kind of fly into your face and go off, and he thinks it's funny. But that is probably one of my favorite. And of course, heart rocks from my son, Jack. The first one I found was this huge boulder, and I looked at it and I thought, it looks like a heart. What is that? That's weird. And I couldn't take my eyes off it. And I went, I picked it up, and I instantly felt him, and I started crying, and it was like, oh my gosh, that's my Jack. That's my baby. So just with the signs, just being open and available to whatever it is that they can gift you. There was a client that she had called me. She said, the house is possessed. You've got to come and clear this. I said, what? That's
not what I do. That's not my job description.
Okay, you have me at possessed. Anyway. Fine. And she said, there's this fire truck that keeps going off in the toy box. Every night this fire truck goes off, and it's driving us nuts. Every night it starts screaming, woo, 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 and the lights are flashing. And I said, okay. And she said, Shauna, we took the batteries out a week ago, and it keeps going off. And I hear this laughter, and I said to her, who bought the fire truck for your son? And she said, my brother. And I said, uh-huh. And she said, oh, shoot. She said, it's him, isn't it? And so that was his way of getting through to them, even without batteries. I know. I was like, oh. It was so
Those
good.
are the stories that it's like, oh my gosh,
It was so good. And yeah, and he was in that moment. She's like, okay, never mind. You don't have to clear anything. Okay, goodbye. It was done. And it was like, wow. And so there have been some amazing experiences over the years that there is no way you can explain it. It's so beautiful. I have clients that it's birds, it's dragonflies. I find that electronics are really easy for spirit to manipulate. Sometimes the TV turns on and we're not in that room. Sometimes, I'm guided to turn the radio on, and there's a song that's like the song, and it, just touches my heart. Birds, dragonflies, butterflies. I mean, there are common signs like that. Pipe smoke, cigarette smoke, any sort of scent from the other side as well. I had one client, she came in and she said she always knew her grandma was around because she smelled cookies, because her grandma used to always bake cookies. And I said, oh my gosh, that's just beautiful. So it can be, again, however your gifts work. You know, are you visual? Do you smell things? Do you hear things? Do you feel things? You know, people I always heat up when spirit's around. I heat up and my hands are like ice. I feel goosies, you know, I get goosies from head to toe. I'm like, ooh. And then when my Jack is around, my heart just heats up. It's like, I just know he's around even before he comes in the room. It's the coolest thing. And so, yes, thank you for letting me share all of this.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I love it. Everybody loves it. They're like getting chills. And Fiona is in Scotland and she's like, it's almost midnight here. Oh my gosh. I'm so honored that we have people from just everywhere. Like, I just never, this whole experience for me obviously started because, you know, my mother passed away and I needed to have an outlet to put all these emotions. And I never imagined that today it has, you know, over 22,000 people follow my page. And I would have never met people like you and all the other people that I've had on this show or segment, you know, and I just feel so blessed because anytime someone says from Scotland or Canada or even here in Indiana, you know, just knowing, and I'm sure you feel the same way, that somebody is listening to you and, you know, finding hope or encouragement is just such a beautiful, beautiful thing. And I never, ever take that for granted. And so I'm just so glad that I get to have these opportunities and these conversations. So,
oh, I think that's so beautiful. I see, you know, with the internet and how connected we are, it's such a blessing to be able to even if I never connect with, you know, all the different people that are watching, you know, just being in this energy and receiving the beauty and the gifts of this energy. Because again, I'm just the vessel. I'm just the channel. I'm channeling through whatever everyone can receive while they're watching and listening, whether it's now or in the future. And I'm just honored to be a part of it because this is amazing energy. It's like, wow, just absolutely incredible energy. And that's from spirit. Spirit is just flooding that beautiful, loving, unconditional energy and love and guidance and support for each and every person. So it's beautiful. I'm loving it. It's amazing.
Yay.
I love to be a part of it. Yay.
Oh, and we've got people from Arizona and okay, so this is Deanna asked, and this is a really good question. And well, I didn't realize we went over on our time, so I hope that if you have something else to do, we can.
I'll just keep going.
Okay, a few more minutes if you guys can stay with us. So, okay. Let's see. I lost it. I'm sorry. Okay, so Deanna said, could there be multiple signs from the same spirit?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. You know, my grandfather, when I first started to experience him around, I would smell smoke and I'd kind of look up and be looking around and no one else could smell it. And I thought, what the heck's going on? What is the sign for a stroke? Oh my God. Like, what is this? Like, I didn't understand what it was.
Like, I'm dying.
I know. I'm like, am I dying? Like, what's happening? Oh my God, you guys don't smell it. Don't you smell it? Anyway. So I finally figured out that it was my grandfather. So cigarette smoke and dimes. And sometimes rainbows. Sometimes I look up and there's a beautiful rainbow and I can just feel his energy around me. And so, yes, absolutely. It doesn't have to be just one thing. For me with Jack, it's just heart rocks, probably always will be. And I'm totally okay with that. But just, again, being open and available to whatever it is. And again, you know, they are probably even more excited to connect with us because they want to let us know that they are at peace on the other side, that they are still very much a part of our life. They are with the souls of the babies that haven't come in yet. They're with the souls of the babies that we've lost. They are waiting for their loved ones when they transition. They have the family dogs and the cats, and they are still very much a part of our life. And so just continuing to ask them, give me a sign, give me a sign, give me a sign. And you'll notice it because sometimes, again, our logical mind is like, whatever. I don't know what that is. It's not real. Show it to me again. And this is what I often ask the skeptics is, how do you know that you're really breathing oxygen? Can you see it? How do you know? How do you know? And each and every person that's lost someone, a skeptic in particular, I always have them just place their hand over their heart and just think of their loved one. Think of the loved one and all the love they had, and the happy memories and the beautiful experiences they had. And 9 times out of 10, they will have a tear in their eye, because that is the love that never dies. That is that connection that is always, always there. And as I'm saying that, I've got goosies, because there are so many loved ones that are here and with each and every one of you around the world. And it's so incredible to be a part of this. And I feel honored. Thank you so much. Thank you.
No, I'm so glad. So let me ask you this to wrap it up. If somebody is watching this or will watch this and just feels nothing, they feel stuck, they are so paralyzed and bound by, it's making me emotional, this grief, like I felt when my mother first passed, they just feel nothing but pain, and there's no hope and there's no encouragement, and they don't feel their loved one. What do you say to those people that right now are just saying, no, I'm hurting, I don't feel like they're here, I don't feel their presence, I'm not seeing signs? What do you say to those people?
To those people, I say, find someone that you feel safe with, because healing from a loss, you need someone that can hold that sacred space. The work that I do is literally holding people's hearts. And it is, again, sacred work. And you need to find someone that you trust, that you feel safe with, even if it doesn't logically make sense. And you don't have to believe in mediumship to work with a medium. I'm also an energetic healer. I have a psychology degree. I mean, I've got a full spectrum of stuff that I bring to the table, but it's really about trusting that there is a way to figure it out. I love Marie Forleo. She says, everything is figure outable. And it is. I didn't think I could live after Jack died. I really didn't think I could live. I was like, no, I just, this isn't what I signed up for. He's supposed to be here. He's supposed to be here. And part of the grieving process, especially when we lose a child, is you're grieving the future. You're grieving that child being a part of your life. You're grieving the dreams. You're grieving the plans. You're grieving so many different things. And so when we have that tsunami of grief, as I mentioned earlier, it can leave us stuck. It can leave us feeling so, it's like we're in this state of shock. And at that point, I encourage someone, if you're experiencing something like that and you're feeling completely hopeless, to reach out to someone. There are, emergency lines you can reach out to. You can reach out to mediums or grief counselors like myself. You can talk to, your pastor, someone at your church. Not everyone can hold that kind of space for grief. Not everyone can hold it. It's not because they don't want to or they don't care. They can't. They don't have the capacity to hold that. It's a very dense, very, very deep, deep hurt. And so first and foremost, I would send all my love to whoever, if there's anyone who's watching this now or in the future, I send you all my love. I literally have been there, and I know what that feels like. And please reach out. Please send me an email, drop me a line. And if I can't help you, I will help you find the person who can.
Yes. And that's perfect, because Sue said, how do you seek a truthful medium? How do I know how to start? And so I would urge you to start with Shauna, and all of her information will be in this, in the comment section for you guys, so that you can just click to go to her website, click to go to her social media pages, so you can also follow her work and the beautiful things that she's doing. But yeah, I would definitely start there. So, and this is not there's no sponsorship with Shauna and I. We don't have anything. There's no, this is just a conversation. We're just sharing both of our stories together. So I don't profit or have anything from sharing her with you. This is just me trying to use my platform to give you guys as much resources and everything that you guys could want. So this is literally just two women with some grief stories that are chatting.
Absolutely. So. And it's, if anything, out of all of this, I love people to just have the awareness that even when we lose someone, that we can still live a life that we love, that we can create meaning and joy and have hope in our world. And Absolutely. If you want to chat more with me, I would be honored to. I would love that. But this is us sharing our work and our love to help people and create more of this beautiful energy on the planet, all over the planet. Apparently, we're reaching so many people, and I love that. And so for me, it's an honor to be able to share this work and to hopefully give hope and meaning. And I always love to hear about all the signs that you're getting, and you may feel guided to look at pictures of your loved ones, or start to think about them and just really invite those energies into your world. And I love to hear about it. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Me too. So if you guys watch this tonight and you guys see your signs or something happens, make sure to put it in here, because both Shauna and I will be following the comment section. And I definitely want to make sure, Sue, it's not in there now, but I will put Shauna's website and the link to how to contact her, her email, everything will be in the comment section as soon as this is over. So I can't do it right now, but as soon as I'm done, if you check back here in the comment section, you'll be able to find all of Shauna's contact information. And I would urge all of you that had that hope spark tonight and that inspiration to reach out to her. She's just a beautiful soul. Every time I've talked to her, like I said before, she's just full of, beauty and hope and light. And, whether you believe in mediumship or not, she also offers grief counseling. And just, as you guys can tell, her energy is just beautiful. And I am so honored that we shared this conversation. So thank you so much, Shauna.
Thank you. Thank you to each and every one of you. Thank you for having me. And yeah, let's ride this energy the rest of the day. What do you think?
Yeah, and I think we should do this again. After the new year, I'll have you back and people can ask more questions, and we can see if new things have come to you for all of us. And so we can collaborate again.
I would love that. Thank you, Chelsea. Thank you.
Yes. And everybody that's here, again, I will put everything in the comment section, and tune in tomorrow night. I will be talking with Mandy Capehart, another awesome conversation. So you'll see me again tomorrow at 7 p.m. And again, thank you, Shauna. And thank you, everybody, for watching from Arizona to New York to Scotland. We are so honored to have you. Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.